On one of my videos, I think I mentioned that ever since I've been looking for disappearing objects phenomenon, paying attention when I'm working with my tools and realizing that when you set them down, sometimes you put something on top of them, yeah, you can't find it, or you push something on the workbench and something falls down behind the workbench. Well, I got the disappearing objects phenomenon pretty well straightened out. But I noticed the other day, because I'm paying more attention to things, that I might have told you. I step off the curb on it would be Greenland Drive near my house, and there's cars coming, but not just one car or two cars, a whole line of cars. And I'm standing going, that's impossible. My neighborhood's pretty big. There's a lot of people in it, but by the time I'm walking over to the dollar store, which is getting close to 9 o'clock, everybody's gone to work. And I've been doing this walk at the same time for 15 years. Suddenly, this is problem time. So I do leave the house, you could say the exact time, because I know how long it takes to get to the dollar store. They just open up and I get what I want and I come back before there's anybody even in the dollar store. But what's happening now is uh, up at the corner of Greenland Drive, there's a parochial school, and they closed two other parochial schools and they combined them. So the people drop their children off at near 9 o'clock, and there's a long line off the highway into the school. So you start thinking, well, each kid gets out of the car, that car pulls ahead, another one, but there's a time. There's a time between the kids getting out. And so how can we get five of them in a row? Okay, here's what happens. They come out of the school and they don't go to the right. They get the traffic light at Route 30. They go to the left through my neighborhood. And you say, well, how do they stack up? Okay, the public school bus, it's all timing. The public school bus is there at a certain time every single day, picking up, let's say there's 3 stops within a block of kids coming out of the apartments. So the bus stops, and all these cars coming out of the Mennonite school, parochial school, they're getting stuck behind each other, and they're pissed off. And then as they come up towards my street, they turn in, and I've already gone past that area. I'm getting ready to cross the street. I'm looking both ways. There are no cars coming. It's quiet. I'm daydreaming about what I want to do for the day. That bus turns into my street, and now it's a starting gate. As soon as it pulls in my street, all the cars behind it accelerate, and there's usually 5 or more. That's where they're coming from. And I have a Wawa up at that same corner. Now, Wawa, same thing. Customer leaves. There's a space between each customer leaving, getting in, starting their car, pulling out, maybe going up to the light. Most people come around through the neighborhood because the light, it's really hard to get out there. It's a highway. So Wawa's been there for 15 years, never caused a problem. Suddenly there's a problem for me. And I mentioned it on the video. And then the next day it was even worse. I went down to the corner to cross, and they're coming. They're one after another. I'm like, there can't be this many cars in the neighborhood. Well, technically, you can't. But if you have another bus, that you got the public and you got the parochial school, and the public school bus acts as a dam. And then at some point it turns into my street and releases all the cars that are trapped behind it. And they're upset. They accelerate. They come flying down. I step off the curb. When I look both ways, there's no cars coming. And it's a curved road. As soon as I step off the curb, now these cars suddenly appear, and they're going fast. They're doing 40 instead of 25. And they're making faces at me as they're coming towards me. And I'm 72. I can cross the street pretty damn fast. But they're aggravated because they got stuck behind a bus. Now, you go in the dollar store, or you get up around the dollar store, and I'll say you get up to the dollar store because we're closing in on 9 o'clock. You get up to the dollar store and you got to go through the parking lot, and there's these people zipping through the parking lot, and you have a McDonald's window there, but there's no way that many cars in a row go through a McDonald's drive-through that fast. There's going to be a time between them. Well, anyway, you got 5 cars coming down strung together. So I figured out what it is. They're coming off the highway there, coming through the parking lot, and then going through the back road to get up to the school. They eliminate 2 lights. So when they're zipping through the parking lot, and they're giving me a dirty look, like get out of my way. And I'm in the parking lot thinking, well, I'm out of the zone of the street now. No. And that mall isn't open till 9. The mall hasn't opened yet, and you got all these cars zipping through the mall. And they fixed the potholes in the mall, so more likely cars will go through there. Used to have these giant potholes, so if you tried to cut through the mall, you'd hit these potholes. Well, the potholes have been filled, and the parts of the parking lot where they're riding on it have been redone. So they're zipping along, man. And at first I thought it was McDonald's, and I'm like, no way, they have that many customers. And that's what it is. It's the same school traffic going up. It's a U. One side of the U, the other side of the U. I'm crossing in the middle of the U. And then I get the up at the parking lot. You know, it should be a parking lot for the stores, but it's not. It's a way to beat 2 lights on the highway, and they're zipping through. And like I said, if they would just not give me those dirty looks, you know. But it's one spot when I'm crossing that parking lot where the cars are zipping down. It looks like they're coming from McDonald's, but they're not. They're coming in to beat that traffic light and the next one, and to get their kid dumped, because they have to get the kid to the school at 9, and then they have to get to work at 9. So imagine the stress they're under. They come out of the parking lot for the school, and they get caught behind a town bus or a public school bus, and now they're inching along from each. You know, I think there's like 3 stops before you get to my street, and then the bus turns in my street. Then there's another bus that comes up the other way. But yeah, I could see the frustrations. But I was like, and where I cross the street, it's on the. I won't say it's a blind spot, but it's the curve of the road. And I'll look both ways. There's nobody coming. My foot hits that stupid pavement off the curb, and I look, and there's a car coming, and it's not just one car. And it's really, that's the other thing. If it was doing 25, I could beat it no trouble. But it's doing 40. And I'm like, you know, I'm walking home like, you know, it's like I said on the last video, I said it's like the Truman Show. Cue the cars. You know, I'm stepping off the curb. Now, there's no cars. You're walking along, you don't hear any cars. You go to cross, still no cars. As soon as your foot comes off the curb, there's cars coming. Well, it's because I'm traveling at the same time every day. I leave my house knowing the dollar store will just open when I get there. I get in when I need. I get up at the register. I'm the first customer. I have no line. But I set myself up for the cars coming out of the Mennonite school. And they come in from 2 different directions. It's hilarious. I was like, what the? But I forgot about the Mennonite school doubling up. They closed 2 schools and brought the students over to this one here. And that's what's causing the extra cars. I feel sorry for those people. And they're sending their kids to private school, and it ain't cheap. So it's, you know, they're under the gun when they're doing. I understand what they're going through, but I couldn't figure out, you know. And then coming back, there's no cars. I'm walking through my neighborhood, so like, no, because everybody's at work. The school is the congestion around the school is gone. Even Wawa gets quiet for a period of time after the morning rush. And I'm like walking back, like, where do those cars come from? And I'm like, you know, I'm going to figure this out. But a lot of times I'll leave earlier to go for a walk, and then I'll stop to talk to this one guy, and I resynchronize myself, and I go up to this one neighborhood to go walking, and the cars come by again, and now I know what it is. It's the school. If you live near a school and parents drop their kids off, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But we had that school there when I moved here, but it didn't have as many students in it. And that's the difference. That changed everything. And then the people cutting across the parking lot for the shopping mall, you would never do that in the past because of the potholes. But now they repaved it. So those people come blazing across that at 40 miles an hour. And that's the parking lot I cut diagonally, because if I go around on the sidewalk, it's an L. It's longer that way. And the dollar store is at the very end. So I cut catty corner. I never had a problem before. And then coming out, for a while, the buses were cutting across the parking lot diagonally because they were doing work around the sidewalks. So I'd come out of the dollar store with my package, and I'd be daydreaming. All of a sudden, I'm head on walking into a bus, and the buses are a lot quieter these days than the old days. And they're very nice though. The bus drivers, they don't get mad at you. They understand that they're on a part of the parking lot that they've never been on before. It's not their route where they come in and turn and the whole thing. But I just want to tell you that it's like, I start paying attention to things more, and then like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. And then the really weird part is you come out of the dollar store. The buses are back on schedule. You come out of the dollar store and you're walking in the neighborhood, and there's no cars. You get the random one coming out of Wawa down around the curve, and then maybe a neighbor going to school, going to work later, and they'll beep and wave. But I was like, where are all these cars? And the people are mad. They're not making eye contact. You see it on their face and you don't cross in front of cars here. That's the first thing you learn when you move to Pennsylvania. Even if they wave you on, don't walk in front of a car around here. Just don't. I won't go into it. I think that's it. All right, that's it.